The honest reason it went viral is because I think at that time there hadn't been a guy with a law enforcement officer, one, that's also African American, two, that's also from the hood, three, and that disagrees with Black Lives Matter, four.
I do not know you, but I am your brother.
You do not know me, but I am your protector.
I will run into a burning building to save your life.
Though I do not know your name, I will take a bullet for you.
Though we've never met,
I believe in duty and sacrifice
of self.
Your family is my family.
Is my family. Your life is my duty.
What's going on, guys? Time for another episode of Behind the Uniforms. Very excited to be out here in Florida with the Wounded Officers Initiative. The guys over at law enforcement today and INFORCE sent us down. It is Heroes Weekend, and we are here at a gala honoring our wounded officers. I want to introduce you to somebody. Instead of doing a typical Behind the Uniforms episode, I've got a cop from out here that I want you to all meet. He's the newest member of the team over at law enforcement today. So why don't you say hi, tell them all who you are.
How you doing, guys? My name is Stalien. I'm the newest member of the law enforcement today team. I'm a law enforcement officer down here in Palm Beach County. I'm a former officer in Baltimore PD and in Riviera Beach PD, and I'm happy to be here.
So why'd you end up hooking up with these guys at law enforcement today, or how did it all play out?
It started when I started writing articles after the Dallas officers got assassinated 2 years ago. And that article, or that Facebook post went viral. They read it, and I started writing more and more because people felt that they needed to hear the truth about what's going on, the atmosphere in law enforcement today. So I started writing more, and these guys saw my stuff, and they invited me to do an interview with them, and we kept in touch since then, and now I'm on the team.
So some real talk. Why do you think that article went so viral?
The honest reason it went viral is because I think at that time there hadn't been a guy with a law enforcement officer, one, that's also African American, two, that's also from the hood, three, and that disagrees with Black Lives Matter, four. So all four of those characteristics is what made it go viral. There was no one else willing to say what I was willing to say.
But I think what was so powerful about it too was that you very simply operated not in the realm of feelings, but in facts.
Right.
And in data, and just sort of walk everybody through how you pulled that together, where it came from, and how it's really sort of tough to dispute some of this info.
And that's how I always operate in general in life. I don't like to, of course everybody has emotions, but you can't dispute facts. So I started noticing that with these controversial police shootings, a lot of the rioting and the stuff people were saying were based on emotion and not fact. So I wanted to put fact out there. I did research. I sat down, did hours of research on the FBI website, hours of research on who gets shot the most, because that's the biggest issue, right? The issue is they're saying that African Americans are targeted. And as a law enforcement officer and living in the hood and seeing it, I had a big issue with that because that's not the facts. That's not what I experienced, but not only is that not what I experienced, that's not what the research says. So I felt that that needed to come out there, especially after I felt that the Dallas murders, the Dallas assassinations happened because those officers were targeted. They were targeted because people were emotional about what's going on. They felt that African Americans were targeted, so they retaliated. So I definitely felt that I had to put the facts out there so that people saw the truth, and that's what resonated with people, is that you couldn't dispute it. You could go to the website yourself and see the numbers, and that's why people were like, wow, it really resonated with a lot of people.
Well, and I think what's so interesting about this too is that facts aren't political.
Exactly.
Facts can be skewed political, but like we saw with the inciting of the Ferguson riots or out in Baltimore, it wasn't, the facts told a very, very different story.
Right.
And so the most recent FBI data, we were talking about this earlier, it was 2015, 2016 maybe, that said that of all the police involved shootings, 50% of them were white,
Yep.
28% were Hispanic, 17% were African American.
Exactly.
And so when you are making emotions on either side, on left or right, making judgments or calls, and it's based on emotion and not based on fact, that's, I believe, what you're spot on. That's what leads to the riots. And we saw just a week or two ago the flat out assassination of these two officers who were sitting out here having lunch.
Having lunch. And I also wrote an article on that, and people resonated with it because they were assassinated because of the atmosphere. Like you said, I feel that a lot of politicians, a lot of people in power play on people's emotions to stay in power for financial gain, other media outlets. And I think it's extremely important nowadays to put the facts out there. Like you said, the big issue today in 2018 is African Americans feel that they're targeted more than any other race. And the facts don't show that. They're actually third out of all the races. Like you said, Caucasians first, Hispanics second, and African Americans third. I think more people need to see that so that things like this don't happen.
When you pull somebody over for going 80 and a 50, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to assume you don't know what color they are.
Nope.
Because they're going 80.
Exactly.
and you're coming up behind them and the seat's behind them.
Exactly.
How do we begin changing this narrative, especially knowing that so many people don't listen to facts, won't do the homework and the research on their own? How do we begin bridging that gap between left and right and Black Lives Matter and All Lives Matter and really sort of find something that we can all have that regular conversation?
I think that's the whole issue, is that I think human nature is they don't want the research, they want to give it to them. They want the research given to them. That's why a lot of people watch the news. And as we all know, the news doesn't tell you necessarily the truth, they're going to tell you what sells. So I think it's more important, guys like you, what we're trying to do in law enforcement today is tell the real story. I feel like if more people tell the real story, we're going to reach more people. And instead of getting all the information from the media who has their own agenda, or the politicians who have their own agenda, they're going to get the truth and the facts from guys like us.
Awesome. Brother, how can people follow you on social media?
They can follow me on Facebook under J Stalien, Jaystalien, and also on Instagram, same spell.
Awesome. And your articles are going to be popping up more and more on law enforcement today. So.
I hope so.
Man, I'm so happy to have you part of the family.
Honored
of law
to be here.
enforcement
Thank
today.
you.
Guys, thank you so much for hitting the share button on this video. So important that we get these stories out here. Really appreciate you taking the time to watch them, to share them. God bless America.